and they win the NFC South.
What's good, everybody? Let's talk some Tampa sports. I was like super tired right before I just pressed start recording, and I just got a random burst of energy out of nowhere. Can probably see the red straining in my eyes. We're tired, but the world does not stop spinning for anyone. Bucs Eagles. We talked, I feel like, primarily about the bad yesterday. We did hit on some of the good in the second half. Today, it's Tuesday. We've talked about the bad primarily yesterday. Let's talk a little bit more primarily about the good in the second half and what they can carry on to Seattle and the following week. So we're still going to go over some of the bad in that first half like we always do, but primarily we're going to be watching more of that second half. This first play, top of your screen right here, we're all very frustrated with it, very annoying. I don't want to turn it into a 5-minute discussion. We knew it was bad after watching real time. I knew it was bad watching in the stadium. But my goodness, Quinyon Mitchell has to have something for Ibuka, and got like he cannot stop like touching them. Just hands grabbing. This one, Ibuka can barely get out of his route. There was probably 5 or so I counted when breaking this down, where it's just like 3 of them were egregious that were not called. This falls into one of the 2 where I was just like, I've seen worse, and I've also seen stuff not that egregious get called, but yeah, that's enough. We're going to talk about that. But that was the first drive of the game, and here we are. So this view gives a better look of the windup from Riley Dixon. I'm not going to say this punt was fully on him. I mean, there's been enough discussion about how the windup is slower than most punters. And we talked yesterday about how, of all active punters, he leads the NFL with blocked punts. Obviously, the blocking here isn't good enough. It's just it's special teams. It's assignment. Block the guy you're supposed to block. Do your job, and this won't happen. So Payne Durham is going to go here. Long snapper Decker is supposed to go there, but either. It doesn't happen. So I'll try to pause it. So Durham picks his guy up here. Ryan Miller is picking up the open man there, but Decker just isn't able to get out of his long snapping stance quick enough to pick up 36, and he's already through right there. He has not even dropped the ball yet. Still just now dropped the ball, and yeah, they take that back to the house. That's how you start the game. Against the defending champs, you spot them 7 points. That's talked about it yesterday. That's not how you start a game. And we've struggled to start all season long, but against this team, you knew you had to come out with some fight, some energy, and the way the Eagles came into our house and just took it over. The team was just clicking. The play calling was fantastic. They brought out all this creative stuff offensively towards the goal line. They were just extremely prepared in that first half, and it absolutely showed. Defensively as well. The Bucs offense, really? This is the next drive. This is 3rd down. That's fantastic coverage from Quinyon Mitchell. Got to give him credit there. That's not a first down. Bucs go 3 and out. And that's a punt. Super ugly play here. Even in the stadium, it was obvious how ugly this play was. Hassan Reddick is rushing from the outside here. There's just no contain on the right side. And then you leave SirVocea Dennis with the choice of leaving Saquon Barkley open, or you leave Jalen Hurts open to run. There's no right answer for SirVocea Dennis. He's left out on an island. So there's Reddick going around, and there's the empty space. No contain out there. No one on this side of the field except Barkley's going to roll out there, and that's Dennis's man, so he's going to follow him out there. There's a collision here, so it's just Vita trying to chase down Jalen Hurts. Dennis, his option is either to crash here or follow his man, He decides to follow his man. Vita doesn't catch him. And all the way down to the 2.5-yard line goes Jalen Hurts. We'll get a better look at the pocket on this side. Reddick rounding this corner here. And it just breaks open there. Just ugly. Just ugly. And here we go with that creativity that I talked about that the Eagles brought towards the goal line. Within the 10-yard line, they just... I can't tell you if I've ever seen a play like this. You have 3 guys here who are really just blockers. And from the beginning, it should just red flags. Like, what's happening here? You have Barkley here, 36 here. I think that's Shipley. And then I think that's Calcaterra right there, their backup tight end. That should be red flags immediately. Jalen Hurts gets into his tush-push stance. Nobody behind him, though. The running backs are over there. A.J. Brown singled out on that side. It's a creative look. It's a different look that you don't see very often. There's that stance. The Bucs have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 down linemen prepared for any type of quarterback sneak. But 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Simple numbers game. I mean, that's yeah. Not really much else to say other than that. 4 on 3. And he just gets through. That's a pretty easy touchdown for Goddard. So this is the Bucs on their next drive. They end up having a 12-play, 49-yard drive that takes 7 minutes off the clock and results in a field goal. I really liked how this play got set up. It just didn't finish or wasn't quite executed how I would have liked it to turn out because the Bucs had the numbers in this one. We just counted 4 on 3 for the Eagles, and it's going to be the same thing here. So Godwin's going to go in motion, and Bucky's just going to go outside. I'll stop it here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 if you're counting the ball carrier. 1, 2, 3 Eagles. But not all 3 Eagles players get blocked. So Blankenship goes down, and it's honestly a very good play by Blankenship, just throwing his body out there, and Bucky gets tripped up. But I do like how that play was set up. Hope we can see some more looks like this. Just hoping that it's executed a little bit better. So we'll get the view from it from the other side whenever it rolls through. So here we go. Godwin's going to come in motion. You're going to have 3 blocking 3, but Blankenship. It looks like Bucky also slips there too, so it's not... Yeah, there nothing was really going to happen there, but the numbers were there. You just want that executed. Hassan Reddick, top of your screen, fantastic play by him. This is how you set the edge. This is edge setting 101 from an edge defender. Just gets the outside, gets the leverage on Goddard. There was a bump there that kind of messed it up, but forces Saquon to go back inside, and he slips. Not a ton there anyways. He would have really had to get that foot in the ground and go forward. Would have took a lot. But great job from Hassan Reddick there, getting out and making that really good play against the run. Bucs had 11 tackles for loss in that game. 11 tackles for loss. That's what I'm saying. There was a lot of bright spots defensively for the Buccaneers. Just too many, self-inflicted wounds, and you're not going to beat the defending champs that way. All right, I thought this was Jalen Hurts' best toss of the day. He really didn't have a ton on Sunday in terms of throwing the football. Not too many plays downfield, but this was a very good layered pass right over Levante David, right up the seam, right over Levante David's head, right into the chest of Dallas Goedert, who ends up taking a big hit from Antoine Winfield Jr. Props to him for holding on to that football there. But yeah, best throw of the day by far from Jalen Hurts. And I think that did result. I think this was probably their longest passing play of the game. All right, more creativity towards the goal line. This isn't as, off as what the first touchdown was. Still pretty interesting look. Goddard, who's the inside tight end, is actually behind the line of scrimmage compared to, I believe that's Calcaterra, who is the outside tight end, is on the line of scrimmage. So Not typically how that looks there, but it's because he looks like he's going to be pulling. He actually gets the shovel pass. So Devonta Smith goes in motion. You know, it's man coverage for the Bucs. Zion McCollum follows him. And it looks like just your normal. They're going to hand it off to Saquon Barkley. And Dallas Goedert is going to be the pull blocker to pick up a defender here. But Levante David goes right at Saquon Barkley. Can't blame him at all for that. That's his man. And beautiful just little toss here to Goddard, and he just has to get through that hole there, which he is able to do. Another very creative, well-planned touchdown for the Philadelphia Eagles within that 10-yard line range. They came ready to go. A lot of talk about the tush push, Vita Vea, how he's one of the few guys, the defense as a whole, one of the few teams to stop the tush push. And we didn't actually see the tush push once the entire game because they're doing very creative things like this to get around that. All right, and then this, it's a field goal, but it's a special field goal. Longest field goal in outdoor NFL history, 65 yards. Longest field goal in Bucs history. That gave the Bucs a wee bit of momentum going into halftime to make it 24-3. It was all Bucs from there. And let's start. That first drive, Servassier Dennis shoots through the hole. Another tackle for loss for the Buccaneers on Saquon Barkley. Here's Dennis here. Just flies right through. Has been good against the run through 4 games. And it just continued in this one. Here, we got a Vita Vea sack, I believe. This is what this is, and it really is just a coverage sack. So we're looking here. Jalen Hurts has been... The routes are already developing. So he's breaking to the outside. He's about to break. You got your man sitting down here, and he's going up the sideline. There's nowhere to throw that football. And you see Jalen Hurts looking around. There's just nowhere to go with it. He breaks a tackle, but Vita Vea is right there to clean that all up. Todd Bowles himself said in the press conference after the game, or it was the next day, I can't even remember at this point, that both of Vita Vea's sacks, as nice it is for Vita Vea to be getting sacks, both of them were coverage sacks, and all game long, the Buccaneers, especially in that second half, fantastic in the secondary. Fantastic against the secondary. We talked yesterday, 0 for 8 for Jalen Hurts, and as an offense, -1 yards was their total yards in the second half, which is insane. Unfortunately, after that stop, the Buccaneers do get to the Eagles' side of the field, but come up with nothing. They go for it on 4th down. A throw out to Sterling Shepard along the sideline ends up being incomplete on 4th down, so the Eagles do get the ball back. Here they're coming out in a look with 2 running backs. Shipley's just going to go outside there. And Jalen Hurts, feeling the pressure from Tyke Smith, nobody picks him up at all, has to get rid of it quickly, and it is behind Shipley, and he is unable to get to that one. So that was another stop for the Bucs. Here we go again. See what the Bucs can do. And they do a lot. This is the first play of the next drive. Actually, Godwin comes in motion. Baker rolls outside. So I had this thing lined up like a pool shot. And as soon as I saw him be lined up with the secondary, I'm just like, just let it go. Just let it go and let him run under that. And then Ibuka runs right towards me. What a throw. We knew the Bucs were going to need big plays in that second half to make a comeback. Their 2 touchdowns were huge plays. huge plays. So here comes Godwin in motion. Play action, roll out right, and just launch it to your guy. Squeezes right between those defenders, and Ibuka takes it the rest of the way. All right, here we go. Another coverage sack from the Buccaneers. We're going to pause it. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi. Pause it. Jalen Hurts is looking this way. You've got, I think that's 45. That's Deion Jones out there. You definitely ain't doing nothing deep here. This is clamped up at the bottom of your screen. So, still looking. He's like, all right, that's not covered. Let me try and break out the other way. And Vita Vea is just there waiting for him. So, straps everywhere. Shout out to rookie Benjamin Morrison, one-on-one with Devonta Smith. Very clean the full way through. So bottom of your screen there. With him, with him, with him. You want to turn around? I'm still with you. Not too handsy. Not too grabby. Great play. Outside from the rookie. Hopefully he's okay. It seems like after news yesterday, it won't be too serious of a hamstring injury. Hopefully we can see him back this week or next week. Soon. Because we don't know what's going on with Dean yet. So here's your other look. And it really just gives you that view of Jalen Hurts going through his reads. Nothing there. Nothing there. Nothing there. Still looking. Nothing there. And Vita eventually gets to him. So, the Bucs get the ball back. And then here is where the referees were like, you know what? Stadium's getting pretty loud. We feel a momentum swing. I have Eagles minus 3.5. Let's go ahead and call that one a fumble. It's all 22, so you're not going to get a good angle from here, but we've all seen the pictures. But back to the goal line. Just, you got to give them props. Like, at the game, I didn't realize they were on the 6-yard line when they did this. I don't know. If you're on the 6-yard line, I don't know if the Bucs really need to stack like this. But it's something the Eagles haven't done in a while, so I'm not going to get too much on the Bucs defense for that. Of course, like, they completely sell out for the tush push. And tight end, Mailata, another tight end, and that's just way too easy. Way too easy from them. The fact that they already have the tush push, and I'm not someone who's like, ban the tush push. If it's so easy, then do it type thing. But the fact that they have the personnel that they do to be able to run it so successfully, and that they can just throw wrinkles in like this to catch people off guard, like it's crazy. Here's your other look here. Everything just crashes. Get that stop. I mean, walks in. But the Bucs answer. And really not a ton of analysis needed on this outside of good pocket for Baker Mayfield, good things happen. Simple as that. This is just backyard football. When we were kids, we all did plays like this. Whether you were Bucky Irving in that situation and you're trying to get open for your quarterback, or you're Baker and you're just telling your boys to, no, break it out. And you can see Baker do that here. Just moving around, great pocket, and just launches it. Hits Bucky perfectly in stride. Bucky is currently injured at this point because Bucky did get injured on the play that resulted in a fumble because there was a hip drop tackle there. So still waiting on results from Bucky's MRI. But they said he was just playing off adrenaline, and he actually was injured the rest of the game after that. What a throw. Bucky doing Bucky things. All right, next drive. Once again, Bucs, it just feels like the momentum is all in their favor. Bad snap. Braswell's there to bring down Hurts, and that results in a punt. You're like, come on. We got this. So the Eagles, of course, punt. Bucs end up getting the ball. They end up kicking a field goal to make the score 31-23. And now the Eagles have the ball back. And I don't know really what's going on in Jalen Hurts' head here. Obviously, he did not complete a single pass in that second half. Is there pressure from the fans, from the team, from A.J. Brown himself to force him the ball? You're missing wide open guys. To force A.J. Brown that football, it feels like there. Jacob Parrish is watching this. Like, he sees what's going on out here. But just that slight hesitation to the outside, Jalen Hurts forces it inside, even though there's absolutely an opportunity there to hit this man right here. Throw it outside. There's nobody down here. There's nobody out here. Throw it outside and let your receiver do his thing. But, hey, Jacob Parrish almost getting a pick. I feel like Servase Dennis low-key breaks it up from him. I'm never gonna complain about two young guys at the same time breaking up a pass, as bad as you want that to be a interception for the Buccaneers. But I can't complain about that. Like, two guys jumping on a football. Can't complain about that. All right, so now we can compare what I showed you, the first play of the game, or the first play of the video, excuse me, Ibuka and Quinyon Mitchell, where it was just that comeback route. Quinyon was all over him, grabbing him, ends up being a pass breakup, no penalty. Let's look at now A.J. Brown and Benjamin Morrison. Timing. He's not grabbing him. He's not all over his back. He just sits on it, jumps it, timing, puts his hand in there. That's a pass breakup. They look a little bit different, don't they? All right, so the Bucs get the ball. You're down one possession, completion to Godwin. You're down to the 11-yard line. Let's go. And I'm going to talk about something that obviously the discussion on this is Baker Mayfield making the decision, the ball getting tipped, resulting in an interception. More of the discussion needs to be on Charlie Heck, because this 1,000% should have been a touchdown to Chris Godwin, not way over here where Baker ended up throwing it, but right in the middle of the field. That's where the touchdown should have been scored. But watch how quickly Charlie Heck gets beat on the outside. He's already beat. So Baker already has to be off of his spot. And right there, Godwin's going to cut inside and be wide open, which would be an easy throw for any NFL quarterback. Just taking it right in here. But because Baker has to get off of his spot, because of how quickly Charlie Heck got beaten, Luke Gedeke, if you're out there, come back soon, brother. I mean, that's wide open in the back of the end zone. And Baker would have thrown it way earlier, too. If there's a clean pocket, Baker would be throwing that football right about now. That's when an NFL quarterback is making that read. This guy's leaning on his right foot. He does not have leverage. Chris Godwin does, who's pushing off of his left foot to break inside. That's a touchdown 10 out of 10 times. But Baker has to do some craziness and, tries to make a play, ends up getting tipped. Jahad Campbell gets the interception. And that was really your best chance to tie up this game. Ultimately, when you look at how the rest of the game played out, this was your best chance in the red zone. 11-yard line, 8-point game. You really cannot wait until Luke Gedeke gets back and just... Oh, man. It's tough. It's tough. What are you going to do? Of course, you'll say, it's 1st and 10, Baker. Throw it out of bounds. Or if you're not going to throw it out of bounds, throw it high enough to where it either sails out of the end zone or Godwin can catch it. Those are the only two options. Obviously, it ends up getting tipped. So that changes things. You don't know how things exactly would have played out. It doesn't look like he was throwing it high, to the back of the end zone. It looked like he was trying to thread the needle there. But that's the Baker Mayfield experience, and that's why we all love him, because so far this year, 3 out of 3 times, in moments like that, he's helped the Bucs, and he's come out with the win. But obviously there's going to be times where it does go the other way, and that was just one of those times. I'm not getting on Baker about that. That's Baker Mayfield. That's who he is. That's what he does. He has 8 touchdowns and 1 interception now, I think. I'm not tripping about it. So, the following drive, how about Elijah Simmons, guys? How about this guy? Picking him up right here, big 92. I mean, talk about burst. Talk about strength. 6'1", 340, I believe, is his measurables. Picking him up after Kalijah Kancey goes down off of the Arizona Cardinals practice squad, he ends up being the highest graded player for the Buccaneers in this game. Some very nice burst for a guy who's that big. We might have something there with him and Roberts. That Elijah duo, Elijah Roberts, Elijah Simmons. I'm excited to see what this group has. Here, another incompletion from Jalen Hurts. Tyke Smith coming off the edge free. We've already seen that once in this video. Once again, he just has to get rid of it, and nothing there. Crazy the turnaround from this Bucs defense in that second half. This is just a throw out to Bucky. This is the final drive of the game for the Buccaneers. Bucky making a hell of a play. Once again, injured at this point, needing an MRI. But that just ends up being it. This results in a sack, a good stunt from the Eagles defensive line, which did eat up Bredesen, Barton, and Haggard all day long. I mean, Baker has to deal with what the interior offensive line gave him this game and feeling constant pressure from his right side. It just was not pretty. And this view will give you a better look at it. Jalen Carter just pushes through Graham Barton. 97 is going to stunt over, and Bredesen really can't do anything about that. Baker gets hammered, and they're not able to bounce back from that. So that's going to be it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching. We are done with the Philadelphia Eagles. Moving on, tomorrow we have our first weekly episode of the Ops, breaking down the Seattle Seahawks. Another big game, NFC game, 3-1 versus 3-1. It's going to be a huge game for both teams to come out with the win. Bucs obviously traveling across the country to play one of the best defenses in the NFL. I think total defense, they're number 2 right now in the NFL, so there's going to be a lot to talk about. Fun game to break down throughout the next couple days. So stick with me on that, and that's all I got. Leave your comments down below. Go Bucs. Y'all have a blessed one.